When your child throws a temper tantrum, it can be crazy on an epic scale, and it's so overwhelming and stressful. Today we're going to talk about some ways and some tips that I've found that will hopefully help you navigate these temper tantrums and help you get through them and make them a little bit easier and maybe decrease their frequency. Coming up. Greetings and salutations, my friends. My name is Travis, aka Dad, and welcome to DadDoneRight, where we do videos about faith and fatherhood designed to encourage, educate, and elevate healthy families. And today we're going to be talking about temper tantrums, because if you're a dad or a parent in general, really, there's one thing there's never going to be a shortage of in your fatherhood experience, and that is temper tantrums. I have a 2-year-old boy, and we have temper tantrums on the daily. And I have a little girl coming in October, and as excited as I am for that, I don't think she's going to be any different. I'm crossing my fingers, but not going to hold my breath on it. Now, I'm no worldwide expert on temper tantrums. I'm just a dad who's learning on the job, but I do have a few tips that I think are going to be really valuable and will help you curb those temper tantrums a little bit and maybe shorten them. There's no cure for temper tantrums, but some of these things may help. So let's jump into it. Now, the first thing that we need to discuss is that not all temper tantrums are created equal. There's actually two different kinds of temper tantrums. One is in the ages of 0 to 2. In that first 2 years of life, most of those temper tantrums are actually going to be geared towards a need. They need something, and they're trying to communicate with you because they don't have the ability to tell you what exactly they want. So it's likely going to be food, sleep, or maybe a poopy diaper. There's really not too many things out there that they're probably trying to communicate at this point, but they need something. So by process of elimination, you should be able to figure out what it is, and then they should calm down. But the other kind of tantrum is what we're going to focus on today, because this actually requires some work on your part. So after the age of 2, starting around 2, kids are learning some speech, and they're learning that they want things. That, hey, I want to try this, or hey, I want to go do this. And they'll start to ask, and if they're not getting their way, meltdown. Instant meltdown, temper tantrums. You all know what I'm talking about. So when you see your child gearing up for the tantrum, here it comes. It's winding up. The volcanic eruption of absolute horror is on its way. Take a deep breath, and let's get into it. So the first thing you're going to want to do is acknowledge what it is they're upset about. They're upset about something. They're not getting their way about something. So what is it? So one of the things that happens for us is whenever we try and go out to dinner or something and we take our son with us, is he wants to go do something that we can't let him do, or we don't have the ability to let him do in the moment. So identify what the problem is. Oh, you want to go play with your cars. Oh, we don't have your cars right now, but I tell you what, if you have your dinner, we'll go home and we'll play with your cars and have some ice cream. Doing something to identify what the problem is and acknowledge that it's an issue. Will that solve it? It depends. Probably not. So step 2, when they're throwing the tantrum, don't give in to what they're throwing the tantrum about. You must stay strong. You must have strong will, and it is going to be extremely difficult, especially if it's something that you have the ability to provide, but it's not necessarily the best situation to do so. Those are the situations that are extremely difficult because you know you have the ability to provide what they want and you think that'll solve the problem. But really, this is a teachable moment, and they do learn from these experiences. However, when you're caught in a tantrum mode, their brain is not able to cope. They are not in a place where they can cope with the fact that they're not getting what they want. So you must stay strong, because giving them what they want will not solve the problem, especially not in the long run. Now, when your child's throwing a temper tantrum, it can be extremely difficult and stressful. It can cause anxiety, and screaming is so hard to deal with. The worst thing ever is when it's in a public place. There's been multiple times where I've found myself in the middle of the supermarket and my son is just screaming his head off because he couldn't open a box of cereal or something in the middle of the store, or he wanted to dump it out on the floor. And those moments are so difficult because you know that everyone's looking at you, even though they're really trying hard not to. You know that they are, and silently you feel like they're judging you. But they're probably not. But even if they are, who cares? They have no idea what's going on, and most of them might be parents too and are like, I was there, I understand, get after it. The most important thing for you to do in those situations is to stay calm. Don't have a meltdown of your own. You need to stay calm, stay collected, take a deep breath, and dive into it and deal with it, because it is going to be difficult. Now, if you're in the comfort of your own home and not in a public place, one of the best things that you can do in this situation when your child is throwing a temper tantrum is to just walk away. Give them their space. Let them work it out and get through it, because there's nothing that you can do in that situation, in that moment, when they're so upset and just screaming, that will really divert the situation to a positive result, because their minds can't cope with what's happening in that moment. So there's nothing that's going to really change that, because they can't understand it and grasp it at that point. So you need to let them calm down, get through it. And once they're in a state where everything is calm, then we can try and move forward. Now for us, once our son gets into a state where he's finally relatively calm again, what we like to do is create a diversion into something that we know he may enjoy to do. So one of the things you could do is say, hey, I really need assistance to make some popsicles. I need to pour some juice into these containers, and then we'll freeze them and make some popsicles. Would you like to help me make popsicles? And then you can have one. Something like that distracts them and diverts them away from whatever the issue was. And now you need their help, and they love that. And once you've come to a place where they're assisting you and everything, reward positive behavior. Ignore the bad, but reward positive behavior, because positive behavior and positive reinforcement in this situation is extremely important and extremely valuable. And if you continue to hammer away at these temper tantrums just like this, where you're diverting away from the issues and you're praising the positive behavior and showering them with love and affection and a special treat, when they act a certain way, they'll start to remember and say, hey, this happens when I do this, but this isn't so good when I do this. And then all of a sudden the temper tantrums become shorter because there's a formula, and they also may happen less frequently because they want the positive reinforcement. They want the treat. They want the love and affection. They want the hugs. They want the attention, because that's what kids really want. The attention. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new today, hit that subscribe button to join the DadDoneRight family, and hit the little bell icon so you get notified every single time we post. Be sure to keep elevating your dad game so you can be the best parent that you can be. Keep it real, and God bless. When my child's throwing a tantrum, I feel like it's the equivalent of having lava thrown on your face. Create a diversion. Oh, look, it's Batman. Give them space and walk away. I mean, unless they're like one, because that would be bad. Stay strong. You have the power. I don't know why that just turned into like a Bane impression.